Welcome back to Hyrule Warriors Adventure Mode, or should I say, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition Adventure Mode. That's right, for the third map we'll be covering in this Let's Play, I decided on switching over to the Switch port of Hyrule Warriors, and I'd like to quickly explain my reasonings as to why before we head into a level. The plan from the jump was to cover all Adventure Mode maps, even those not in the Wii U version, while covering the ones that debuted in the Wii U version in that version. Considering that we've always had to make the switch over, it's just that I'm briefly doing it now to make things a little bit easier in future. See, the Definitive Edition not only merges the content from the Wii U and 3DS versions, but also adds a suggested approach on how to tackle it all. As, for the most part, things have been probably spread out to maintain a good sense of progression. With that as reference, we've already completed the first and third maps, but not the second. But over in the Wii U version, we've just completed the first two maps. Now, the difficulty of Adventure Mode isn't linear and you can forge your own path through. In fact, in between recording sessions, I've already completed as much as I can of the first and Master Quest maps in this version, without diving into the Great Sea map. And thus comes another reason. If I was to continue on with the Wii U version now, I would be covering the Great Sea map and its Master Quest version back to back, and that's not something I want to do again, as I want to diversify the experience as much as I can. Not only that, but knowing myself, I would want to complete the Twilight and Termina maps in this version as I covered their Wii U counterparts, meaning that we will be severely overleveled for a map or two, whereas by doing it this way, I just have to grind up my characters in preparation for the Twilight map in the Wii U version. Just something I'm still yet to do. Final thing I'd like to mention is the fact that it is highly recommended that you play this version by diving in and obtaining all the characters and weapons first, before returning to the earlier maps and completing everything. But I'm sticking with it and going map by map. Anyway, to the gameplay. Is there anything for this map? Or for this level? Okay, so I guess we'll get to see a few differences, and one of them, first thing up, is this. Don't really have a lot with Wizrow. Just go with that one. So, the fairies are a big thing that was introduced in the 3DS version, and I will touch on them a bit later. I'm trying to figure out who I want. Do we have any costumes unlocked? Okay. I will have to double check to see if we did unlock any new costumes for the guys. Like what costumes we unlocked for the guys earlier. But yeah. I'll get into my fairy later. Just hoping I remember how to play the game because it has been a bit. But of course, one major difference. Right, they changed the layout. Okay. So let's go this way. So, one major difference is the fact that you can play as multiple, or you can have multiple warriors out on the level with you. For the way I'm gonna go about this, also nice new introduction of a new boss. The way I'm gonna go about that is for the cases of if there is, say, we want hammer. For the cases on which there is an A rank reward for one character, but there is a level reward, or like there's a treasure reward for a different character, in that case, I will kind of allow. I'm trying to think of the way to word this. It's fucking thingy thing. The way I'll handle it is that I will play as the character that has the A rank reward. The A rank reward is 4, but then I will also allow the character who has that reward of like the treasure. I will allow them to collect the level to collect that. Can you just like hurry up and do your attack, please? Which I may as well kind of just do this. Also, just kind of realized that I am playing as a different skin with the Rizro, but I don't think that should matter. It shouldn't matter, but in cases where that isn't so much the case, where I don't know, I'm trying to think of a thing. I'm not sure how often this appears, but in the cases in which there is trying to think what it is, like what it is specifically I'm thinking of. In the cases in which there is a level that has an A rank for a character, but the game doesn't, or the game is restricting you to using one character, to using another character, I will go in go into the level twice, just so things are a bit more, not really streamlined, but less cheesed, I guess is the way to say it. Okay. First A rank of many, and I'll kinda see how things go, but Toon Link here, I believe it is Toon Link specifically, has kind of been the missing piece that I've needed to 100% both the Master Quest map and the Adventure Mode map. I will see how we're doing for time a little bit later on in the map, because I'm considering having an episode where we go back and do those levels that we were required Toon Link. Huh. Okay, we'll do that one later. Sure. Ruto. Yeah, this one. As you can kind of see there, this, I mean, it's fairly obvious. I would think. Wow. Okay. All right, this is a new level type. Huh. That's interesting. Who do we have to choose from? Tetra or Riz? Sure, we were playing as Rizzo before. Let's team up with him. Yeah. Kind of just show just how much of a suggestion the level of the map levels are. Despite skipping over the second map, I was quite easily able to go ahead and almost 100% the next map, and that is also another reason as to why I did. No, let's have Team Link in our party. I think that's what happens. Yeah, that is sort of why I'm kind of doing this now, instead of leaving it for later. I'm not sure how quite of, not really sure how much of an increase it would be, but, if we did go ahead and, do Termina and Twilight in the Wii U version before we did this map, I would then have to go ahead and do those two maps in this version, and that is quite a lot of, that's quite a lot of content to do in the background, and I don't really want to sound, trying to think of the word for it, but like, I don't want to make it seem like it'll be too easy, but we would then have, I believe, yeah, we would have, I'm just gonna let this play out for a bit. We would then have, I want to say level 4 weapons for the crew, and we would be doing second map stuff, so I wouldn't really be a fan of that, even if it would make it quite easy. Just because, you know, I would want this to be a challenge, and I'm not sure if it has any impact, but before I started this, I did go into my settings and changed the difficulty to hard from normal. I might consider putting in hero mode if I can tell that this has, or that has a distinct difference on this, but I'm not entirely sure. Also, something I did kind of skip over completely in the first level we did, but it's good that we have a boss to fight now. In the levels which in which allow us to I'll fight. I think. Yeah. In the levels that allow us to select multiple warriors to bring into the fight, you would get a boost to your magic, and I believe even to the damage you do with the boss, or to the boss, depending on how many warriors you have on there. If they happen to be in the same room, which is why I commanded them to follow Wizro. Oh. Okay. I mean, okay. I would have loved to possibly get more Helmet Sword King, I believe it is, materials, but I'll take the A rank. I'll take an easy A rank. And I would like to mention that, kind of surprised we haven't run into any vanillas. I thought this was going to be a vanilla. There's two main differences first one being that 1200 isn't the maximum amount of KOs you need anymore. I believe some levels, typically the ones that allow you to take 10,000 damage, will require 1600 instead. Thing is though, there's not a great way of knowing, so really the best way to do it is to just get 1600. Right. Okay, I'm not really a fan of that. It's not really showing us. Actually, I would not be surprised if it's a thing in which you need to beat the level in. Which sucks. Yeah, I can even see the thing. In which case, let's beat this level. Yeah. Okay. I forget which thing we want from Sia. Doesn't entirely matter which other character we have in, but sure, let's use Tetra. I believe this is a Horde encounter level. I believe it is. And yeah, second major difference with these levels is that they changed how damage works, in which previously it was kind of like a set number, like a set amount. Each heart had a value of 400, and you know, you could only take either 4,000 or 100,000 or 10,000. In the Switch version, however, they made it a percentage. What percentage you are allowed to take, I do not know. It's the third time we've seen this thing, so we'll skip it. Also, okay, cool, you're right there. I believe it is 49% of your health. Whenever we get into a Skulltula level, we'll see just how much damage we are allowed to take for the second Skulltula. So, buddy, can you do your thing, please? Please. I mean, may as well take two and killing some enemies around you. Because I don't know how lenient these are. Because I mean, already you can tell that we've been given 20 minutes instead of the usual 10 for these. Okay. Also, I just realized I should probably have Howard's here up. But I'll do that later. Also, with the 3DS version, and of course now into the Switch version, you're given magic which you can then go on to use in a fairy nuke. I'm not quite sure how I want to deal with using fairy nukes. just because they can kind of cheese levels. I'm not sure how true this is in this version, but I know that in the 3DS version, kind of get the feeling that the Fairy Nuke was added because the 3DS could not handle having in as many enemies as, you know, the Wii U version could. So they would have kind of like invisible enemies which would only really be affected by Fairy Nukes, so you would get more in. So dude, can you just... I'm not sure if it's because Tetra's just there, but like, dude, you are taking your sweet ass time doing your own hack. I do not remember you being this cautious. In the slightest. I would not be surprised if we end up failing this. Although that being said, we do kind of need to do this again anyways, so I don't exactly mind. I'll try for the transport captain. So then we can go into the magic. Okay, and then we can force you into submission. Okay. Also, I guess on the note of costumes, again, I'll have to check just what costumes are being unlocked in the previous map, but I'm thinking that if I'm able to, I will use those costumes. Although that being said, I'm thinking that there'll be a few costumes that I will use that we didn't unlock last map, only because they are unique to this map. Those of course being, I believe, the Breath of the Wild, Zelda and Link. I don't know why, but I was going to say Peach and Zelda. Like, what? No. Peach isn't in this game. That makes it, I wonder if they would be open to making a Mario Warriors game. So can I just say I'm not really a fan of the map zooming in automatically? No, that's just me. Like, yes, it's kind of helpful, but kind of find it a little bit distracting, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so this is kind of an unprecedented move. How do I want to do levels in which we get the A rank, but we don't necessarily get the reward because we haven't been able to unlock it first? You know what? Okay, I'll go over the new items. The Wind Waker, of course. This is the Wind Waker map. I believe headwinds make levels harder, so I'm not entirely sure if I will use this item. Of course, these are things. Okay, so there's not really so much of a difference. I'm thinking, which I'm hoping, actually, no, such as instead. Oh no, we'll need the this thing for it first. Okay, so we will have to go that way next episode. Yeah. I'm thinking I'll call it there, but I'll definitely splice in whatever this is once we unlock it, because we did kind of technically already clear the conditions for it, and we even got an air rank, which I just noticed that we didn't even need. But actually, you know what? I think, yeah. I believe the final thing I'll mention this episode before I'll let you go. Final thing I've noticed, I'm not entirely sure if this was in the Wii U version, but in the 3DS version and of course this version, if you clear a level that was limited to a specific character, you can then go on to play that level again with any other character. So, this level we were restricted to Sia, but now, of course, now that we've completed it, we can use whoever we want. Also, that is kind of another reason why I'm going to be sticking to using the first warrior I've selected, and not really switching to anyone else. As, of course, if a level is otherwise restricted but does allow you to bring in multiple characters, you can kind of play the level with whoever you want regardless of the restriction. So just kind of note that I'm going to be playing this more like the Wii U version than the Switch version, sort of thing. But yeah, I wanted to say that this is a costume for Sia only because we were playing as Sia for this level, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to see when we have to see it. But yeah, next episode, two episodes in a row, we'll be unlocking another character, but do not get used to that pace because I believe that this is the only other character that we unlock. But yeah, until then, that has been Aussie.